Hi, it's Matt Kendall once again on one of the hottest days of the year so far. Is it May or June? June, isn't June? Right, okay. So I've got with me today Ella. Ella went through the weekend. Was it May? April. No, it was April. That's right, because it was a monthly handed in. She's already done her case studies and become a practitioner of IEMT. Now, Ella didn't have any therapy training experience or any knowledge of therapy, from what I understand, before she did the training. And what this interview is really about is showing people, if they want to get into IEMT and therapy in general, that you don't need to have any previous training or experience in therapy in order to go through this course and to be able to get amazing results with your own clients. So Ella, good afternoon. How are we doing today?
Good afternoon. Yeah, great. Thank you. How are you?
I am very, where are you based at the moment? Is it
in Brighton?
In Brighton. Excellent.
Yeah.
Very sunny Brighton. I bet it's busy there today.
Yeah, traffic everywhere.
Now, Ella attended online. Now, you first came across IEMT through one of my prodigies through somebody who did the training myself. But before you were made aware of that, I don't think you have any experience in therapy or training or anything like that, if that's correct.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
So you don't have any experience. And then you went along and you met somebody called Yolanda. And how long ago was that? And what was that like? And how did she explain IEMT to you?
Yeah, so I met Yolanda through doing a boot camp, and part of the boot camp, a major part of it is mindset work. So throughout the 8-week boot camp, you're working on lots of different areas of mindset to help you with your journey of weight loss and like fitness. And then part of that, Yolanda had become IEMT practitioner. So she started implementing that into the boot camp induction process too. So that's how I came across it. And to be honest, it changed my life. So it was amazing.
Just to, without getting sort of nosy, what was it like, and sort of what way, and just obviously disclose what you want, but for somebody who received IEMT, how did it change your life?
So for me, I went into it, I've never had therapy or anything like that before. So I was just walking to my appointment like, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I'm fine. And then it turns out, actually, I really wasn't in touch with my emotions at all. I would file them away after something would happen. I wouldn't ever revisit it, and I wouldn't really ever talk about it. And after having IEMT, it made me realize that it's actually okay to talk openly about your emotions, but also I had them in check. So I was able to talk about them without getting highly emotional whilst expressing why I felt a certain way about something.
Wow. And what kind of impact did that have on your life in general?
It just made me be able to talk to people about like certain traumas that I may have had, like in my earlier years, and just going forward, actually dealing with certain people in my life, it made it a lot easier to have those conversations as well.
Brilliant. Because what I find especially is when you've experienced certain trauma, and if you compartmentalize it, it's still there. Mm-hmm. It's like sweeping something under a rug. It's still under the rug. You know, it's not being dealt with. And our behavior is obviously dictated from what we've experienced in the past, although we try and compartmentalize it. With IEMT, it allows you to look at it, but from like a safer space, not safe space, but from a very logical point of view. And it allows you to get a very different understanding. So you don't have to hide these traumas anymore. You don't have to compartmentalize them. You can look at them and process them, and take what you need from them as well. And also, a lot of the time people realize these traumas weren't really about you. It wasn't your fault. You weren't that involved. You know, it depends on what it is, obviously. But it allows you to actually process them properly, and then they just become normal memories. They don't become these things which come back to you as anxiety or flashbacks or nightmares, or, you know, that also stops you from doing other stuff in the future, and you don't know why. But you've got these things from the past who obviously, because when you're thinking about future stuff, it goes through the filter of your past, and that's how you project. And if you've got a lot of this stuff in the past, when you're thinking about the future, it will limit what you can do without an awful lot of emotion or drive. So this is where people need motivation or empowerment, because you're trying to smash through all this stuff that's there, but you don't know why it's there, which essentially causes what's cognitive dissonance. It's like it's too two sets of thoughts. So you want to do something, but you feel you can't. And it creates this cycle of what's wrong with me. With IEMT, if you sort out this stuff from the past, you can actually just move forward without fighting through all the emotion.
Yeah. And I think that's like, you hit the nail on the head, so to speak. Like, I never processed anything. Like, everything was just here in the back of my mind, sort of locked away, and it was never processed. And it was even down to, like, when I was really young, I had to do a school assembly, and I fluffed up the whole of the ending of the speech for the closing ceremony. And now, like, I think that impacted me, like, being able to do presentations and stuff. And now I don't get as worked up as I used to, and I really worked on that, and I feel so much better. I actually remember what I've said rather than coming out of a meeting and being like, I have no idea what I spoke about then, because it just blanked out.
Well, I get this a lot with public speaking and presentations and meeting people, and seeing things go wrong when you're a kid. No, I don't like saying people, it's usually stuff to do with your childhood, but it is. Because that's how you learn stuff. And it's very hard to say to somebody, well, the reason why you're like this now is because 20 years ago you had an assembly that went wrong. But the thing is, this is why we do essentially like the regression. We take the feelings that they have now, and we go to how they learn how to feel this way, and it goes back to what it goes back to. But what I love about IEMT is you don't have to like discuss the content of what actually happened in order to still actually get results from it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's go through. So you did some work with Yolanda. You then found out about myself. Did you do any research beforehand? Watch any of the videos? Read any of the materials? Or
before the training?
Yeah.
Yes. So I was really nervous that I would be a bit lost in the training, to be honest, because I didn't have any of that experience. But you sent me so much information, and I read through it all. I got all these post-it notes. I took down a mirror and I just stuck them all over the place, just to kind of like map it all out, so that I went into the training just like totally fully prepared, that I could understand what was going on. And actually, I probably wouldn't have even needed to do as much of that preparation as I did. Like, I went to the extreme, but I'm really glad I did, because it just meant that the weekend I understood what was happening.
Brilliant. So, because what I do is a week before the training starts, I send out the manual, I send out a video to you watch, I send out some other videos as well. So an actual video about how to prepare technically, and how to basically just get your room up to standard, again, with headsets, with cameras, that kind of stuff. And then just to do about the patterns. So there is like a couple of hours worth of pre-work to do. And I do say, look, this is the manual, go through it, because when I'm presenting, I'm going to be presenting from slides and stuff, but I'm not going to go through absolutely everything in the manual. That's going to be your reference. I'm going to be presenting the course, as it were, and it's going to be very heavily exercise based, so to ingrain it. And if you read the manual and go through especially there's only a few language patterns you need. It's like literally a few sentences you need to internalize. If you can do that in advance, it means when you're doing the course, you'll actually learn a lot more and internalize it. And you're not just there looking at notes, you're actually doing rather than just reading. So that's why I like to prepare people in advance, to give them all these materials so they can, really sort of get going on it. So it was a 2-day course over the weekend. What was it like? What was it like from somebody who's never been through sort of a therapy training? I'm sure you've done other trainings in, through your work and stuff, but how did you find going through the 2-day training? What was it like for you working with people? What was it like for yourself as a whole experience?
It was actually just really fantastic. The people on the course were like, everyone was so open, and we grouped off and worked with everyone. And it was really nice to get to know and understand other people's experiences and background as well. It was really lighthearted, and it was braked out really well. So you had breaks at the right times, definitely. It's a lot of information, and obviously because you're working on yourself, your brain is in overdrive as well, because there's so much going on. But actually, I came away from that weekend a bit tired, but just really felt like on top of the world, like I was invincible almost. I cleared all the other loads of blocks that I had again, and I was just so excited to get going with it.
And I think this is what people don't realize, is that during the weekend you do probably about 10 or 12 exercises, because the way that I do this, I introduce, so everything's in modules. So I introduce the module, I explain the module, I then do a demonstration of what that technique is. You then go into a private training room. So for those who don't know, I do it on Zoom and what's called a breakout room. So that's like your own mini meeting with somebody. And then we do a review, ask questions, give feedback before we move on. Now, how did you, and also what people don't realize is how much work they get to do on themselves. So I say, bring some of your own problems because it's your chance to work on them. And you've obviously worked on, quite a few of your things yourself. How did you find going through that process of introduction, demonstration, private session, and then review from somebody who's never done therapy training before? How did you find it, that modular approach to learning?
Yeah, it was great. Like I haven't got any improvement points for it at all, really. Like it flowed really well, and it was a really easy way to follow, and I felt confident in doing it because of how you taught it.
Thank you. And you had enough time to ask questions and feedback and everything like that, yeah?
Yeah.
Fabulous. So we did the 2 days. And then after the weekend, you go and work with 2 of your own, what we call case studies. A case study is when you work with somebody who you don't know for 2 one-hour sessions, following the structure that I give you. So basically what we do is everything I teach in day 1 is session 1. Everything I teach in day 2 is session 2. And then obviously after the weekend, I give you the session plans, the structure to sort of go through everything. So I don't want it to be any sort of guesswork. I want you to follow like an ABC kind of structure. So how did you find sort of getting people to come and work with you? And then what was it like applying these techniques to the people that you worked with?
Yeah, so I think I found the people easily. That was fine. And then working with them, I think I probably could have done more to cut the conversation a little bit because there was a lot of chat, but then I think that was me learning as well, and like trying to pick out the specifics rather than just try and getting them to think about really what it is. So but after the first session, and then I saw them for the second session, the feedback was like amazing, and the changes you could see in them as well. Yeah,
I always say this when you see, like, because the sessions are a week apart, and the physical changes in people can often be quite vast.
And I think as well, it's like the questioning, like, how have you done that? Like, how do I not feel that way anymore? I don't understand. Like, that was such a major thing that had happened to me, and now it's just not really there. So it's just such a fantastic tool. I love it.
And without going into any sort of personal details about the people, what kind of sort of issues were you working on with your case studies, and what changes did you see within them?
There were a couple. So one of them was specifically about lots of general stuff, but there was a big section of like overthinking, and there was like an image of like a train board, like where it changes if something gets pissed out of place, and that feeling wasn't there anymore, which was like mega, because that's what was an everyday kind of thing for them. I mean, it was just sort of like a lot of like standardy kind of things, like loss and like things that had happened in the past, that kind of stuff.
Now, what I love doing is at the start of the session, we always do a demonstration on a single memory which just stands out. What was it like doing that very first one with somebody who you've had no connection with? You're trying this out for the first time on somebody new. What was it like getting the response from somebody after doing it for the first time?
It's like they do this because they're like looking for it, and they're like, where has it gone? So it's really hard to explain, but I think it is, you can just see it being removed from them, and like their sort of shoulders pop up, and they're just really thinking to try and find it, but it's just not really there anymore. And the astonishment on their face is quite amazing.
And it's kind of like oh, this works.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
works.
definitely.
And it really gets people on board as well. Because when you do this at the very beginning of a session, it shows people this is not a normal counseling session where they're just going to talk about their problems. This is change work.
Mhm.
This is changing how they access and process their past. And by doing this right at the beginning, before you get into the emotional stuff and the relationships and stuff, it really kind of sets it apart from any different kind of sessions, in my opinion. And for the therapist, for the practitioner, it's like, oh, right, okay, this is, and when they respond well to that first one, you know it's going to go well as well. So and then, so you did this, have you spoken to either of them since the second session at all?
One of them I have, she messaged me and just said, like, thank you so much. I feel so great. And it's down to like the stuff that we've worked on. And it's just, yeah, I just feel great. So it's been positive.
Do you know what? I see people on Facebook who I've trained, who do all this work, and they're always getting sent bunches of flowers and chocolate. I've never been sent anything.
No, me either.
People just keep getting sent loads of stuff. It's like, and I think that this is what IEMT really is. It can really give somebody's life back. It puts you back in control of your own life, rather than being the subject. And we talk about one of the patterns of chronicity is what's called effective and cause, which can also be sort of like learned helplessness in a sense. Basically, you're letting life happen to you and you're not taking control. And that can be for a multitude of different reasons. But once you understand and you can see what you've actually done and how you can stop all this stuff from the past, it can really then change who you are now and when you then go into the future as well. So have you worked on any other people apart from your case studies as well? And how's that gone?
Yeah, so the first week after I did my training, I was like, right, that's it. So I booked in the 2 case studies, and then I had 2 or 3 other people. So I had a pretty manic like couple of weeks after the training. And then since then I've been doing working with like 1 or 2 people a week as well. So I've been covering quite a lot, just because for me, I just really love it. I think the reason, like one of my reasons for doing this was, you know, it helped me so much. If I can help just one person, like, then I've made my money from doing your course, to be honest, because I just want to be able to give back to people in some way like that. And yeah, and everyone I've worked with have just had such great results, and it's just so lovely to see. Yeah,
brilliant. Sorry, just getting email. Let me just, sorry, let me just close my email down. Bloody notification.
That's all right.
Sorry, that's just somebody saying they've just got their certification. Brilliant. Okay, so it's been a busy day today certifying people. So you've learned these skills. Obviously, you don't do this full time. Going forward, what's your plan? Are you wanting to work with more people? Are you going to be charging for it? Is it going to be like a side gig for you, or?
Yeah, at the moment I haven't really set out a plan. I'd love to work with Yolanda and other people aside from that, you know, if like friends or family, or, you know, people that know of someone that wants something like this, like I'd be definitely happy to work with them. I haven't really put a commercial kind of plan in place. I have a full-time job, so obviously it's not something that I can do all day every day.
Of course.
So yeah, I don't know, the options are open at the moment.
Because I know that you didn't sort of plan to have a career in therapy. It was just something you were really interested in and wanted to experience. But if you were to have a commercial aspect to it, do you see how you could quite easily create from here? You know, working full time, you could do, because you can do it online.
Yeah.
You can start to do like a session a day or something. And
yeah, definitely. And like, you know, I've got weekends as well, which I'm happy to work with people on. So yeah, I can definitely see how it could fit around my normal life.
Yeah. So for those people who are watching thinking, I want to get into therapy, I think IEMT is a really good way in. It's a 2-day course. You get certified. It's also a CPD course. So that's continued professional development course. You get insurance. You obviously got to get the insurance, but you get your own insurance as well. That means you can work from a commercial premises, like a therapy room or a beauty salon or a gym. I've worked from all of them because you have your own indemnity and public liability insurance for that. You can work with people online. So I work with people all around the world. You can set your own prices. There's no commission you have to pay to. So basically, what you charge is what you charge, and also you can learn other skills. A lot of people who do IEMT also do hypnotherapy and CBT and talking therapy and counseling, and you can start to work them together. You can actually start to create them together, especially coaching. If you're going into coaching of any sort, life coaching, relationship coaching, adding IEMT to this, your results will, like Yolanda, her results from, you know, her boot camp since she's introduced IEMT have just skyrocketed. I did an interview with her about that. So value for money. How would you rate the course as value for money?
I think even if I didn't work with anyone, just the work that I did on myself, like it was amazing. So yeah, great value for money.
And how's the support been since you did the course?
Yeah, it's fantastic. The people that we did a course with, we're all in a group together, and obviously there's the IEMT Academy page as well. And you're always on hand to aid us if we need it. So yeah, the support is there. It's strong.
Cool. So for those people who are watching at home who don't have any therapy experience, think I can't go on this training course, I won't be able to keep up. You know, I don't know anything about therapy and I don't want to look stupid and stuff. What do you have to say to those people who are on the fence?
Just do it, basically. I haven't had any of that experience or the past experience. All I had was an IEMT, had the sessions previously, but I have got so much out of it. And if it's really like touch, you don't have to delve into big emotional problems. You don't even have to, they don't even have to really tell you what is going on. So you don't have to be there for a support, and that as well really helps people to be able to work on the problems because they don't have to go into the detail. And yeah, just do the course if you're interested. Just get on it.
Ella, thank you so much. Go and enjoy the beach at Brighton if you can get in amongst the tourists.
Yeah.
If you have any other questions as well, please do let me know. But now go work with other people, and thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.